It's a little bit fancy, isn't it? In this video, we're going to be having a look at the Fraser Price palette box. Now, I bought this palette, do you know what, almost 2 years ago now, after my first child was born. When you become a new mother, you kind of feel like you're losing your personality because you're just all consumed by motherhood. And I felt like I wanted to treat myself after the horrors of childbirth and an emergency cesarean section. And I wanted to remind myself that those days will pass and I'm going to go back to doing the things I love doing in my spare time, such as painting and drawing. So I bought myself this extremely expensive watercolour palette, but it is beautiful. And I try to go for things that will last a long time. I'm kind of shying away from plastic and going more towards ceramic palettes, etc. So this felt like the next step on from a watercolour palette, my favourite travel watercolour palette, the Windsor and Newton. These palettes are very similar. I'll show you a comparison, and I love this one. This one I think I will still take out and about. This one I think I will use more at home. Let's open up the box. So inside you have this absolutely stunning brass palette, and it is just beautiful and ready to be covered in my finger marks. Make it my own. It also comes with a little leaflet which tells you a bit about the palette. It just tells you about how to keep it clean, how to look after it, and all of the little bits that come in it, what's included. So I'll take you through it now. This box feels so high quality. When you open up the box, it has this gorgeous little clasp that doubles as a stand to keep the lid stable when you're painting. So if the stand wasn't down, it kind of flops down. If the stand's up, it holds it up. You have a really generous mixing space in this palette. You have these two, which are brass coated in enamel. And then you have this one, which also has a thumb hole, so that if you want to use this when you're out and about, you've got a thumb hole. And I mean, I have quite big hands for a woman, and this fits me absolutely fine. You have space in here for 6 pans in each row, so that's a total of 18, if I can do my math. 6, 12, 18, yeah, 18. This side of the palette holds the water bottle and a little section here for your dirty and clean water. The water bottle also has 2 little sections that you could also use for mixing on, and it's just a little plastic bottle. Now, I will be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed by this, just because of the type of plastic it is. It does feel pretty cheap. Like, I feel like over a few years I'm gonna break this. Just being honest, I would have preferred something more like this, you know, a stronger material than just straight up plastic. So I am probably, I mean, I like the idea, don't get me wrong, I like the idea, your clean water, your dirty water, but I'm probably going to end up making a ceramic one in pottery and replacing it, just because I'm weird like that. So yeah, I'd rather have a ceramic one in there that I know is going to last the duration of this box's life, which should be a very, very long time considering it's brass. So yeah, I'm hoping to get, you know, it's a bit like an heirloom piece, isn't it? I'm hoping to have it till I'm old and grey. This is quite heavy compared to the Windsor and Newton one, and this is full of paint and got a brush, and it's not got water in at the moment, but it would be a little heavier with water in. This is significantly heavier, so I think if you were going to use this out and about, you'd want to potentially clip it to something, or have it on a surface next to you, whereas this is much lighter and much easier to hold. It's got a little thing for you to hold here on the back when you put it out. It's just much lighter. So that's something I would take into consideration if you were considering getting this to have out and about. Another feature that's really nice in this is the palette just pops out. Makes it easy for changing around your paints, which is something I tend to do a lot of. I'm always mixing up my palettes, so this, I really like that this is so easy to get in and out, because some can be really, really fiddly. I'll show you side by side comparison to this. So on this one, you've got your water pot, which is, you know, the equivalent of this. So this one actually does hold a lot more water, whereas by comparison, I think this water bottle is going to hold a lot more water than this one. It's just significantly bigger. So with this one, you can see compared that the mixing spaces are much smaller. I mean, you have got this one, but I very rarely use this one. I'm usually just using this one. That's why it's a bit stained. The mixing area is a lot bigger, and it's enamel, which is what I really love. Again, the longevity should be longer than this. Same with the hinges. I do worry sometimes about breaking this. I have knocked it a few times, but they have stayed attached. So give it to Windsor and Newton. It has stayed attached, and I'm a very clumsy person. So if you want like damage testing, you know, I'm a good person to give things to. This one does feel like it's going to last a long time. It does feel like the hinge is very secure. What I was saying about getting the pallets out, you know, this one, pop it out. This one, you really have to fanny around. You have to like lift this up this middle section, and then you move the pallets around. But I find sometimes, I mean, where I've been painting a bit, a lot of them are stuck together because I just splash water everywhere. But especially if it's new, or if they're not stuck together like me, if you're a neater painter than I am, it can be really awkward getting this down back into position. And also getting these ones out is just annoying. You have to like slot them all the way up to get them out. It's just slightly irritating. So yeah, essentially this is my upgrade of this, but I am still going to use this. Often at home I find myself coming back to this rather than my other at-home palette, just because I like the colours in here. I like that it's compact. It's really easy to just whip out and use. I thought I'd get this one for home, seeing as I like using this at home, especially if I take this upstairs. Like if I'm not in this room painting, if I'm going upstairs to sit on the sofa to paint, this is just so nice and compact. I've got everything I need with me. I can just take it upstairs. So this is kind of why I got this in my postpartum crises. The Fraser price box also holds more pans. This one holds 18 pans, whereas this one, originally it's only meant to hold 12 pans, but you can squeeze in 14. That's another consideration if you want more paints in it. So I kind of feel like there's not a lot more I can tell you about this box until I've been using it a few months. So I'll use it for about 6 months, and then I'll do a proper review on it. But those are my sort of first impressions, and what I can see are the benefits and flaws in this palette so far. So what I will do now is I will fill it with some colours, and I'll show you my colour choosing process for this palette. And it's going to be a bit different to how I usually fill my palettes, because usually I like to just pick whatever colour I want to use. But this year I am on a no buy or a low buy spend for this year, because my maternity leave's ending and I'm skint. So I will not be buying any more paints this year, which actually feels traumatic to say, because don't we just love buying paints, everyone? It's just something nice about buying paints, isn't it? So yeah, I'm on a no buy / low buy year. So I am going to be using up all the little odd ends in my stash. Yeah, also there's a side game on this palette, like a deck of cards. I don't know what I'm doing, but yeah, I'm going to be using up paints that I've got. Now these are my watercolor paints. We have this box, which is Daniel Smith and a few other brands, like I think there's some Mission Gold in here. Yeah, so that's like mostly Daniel Smith's and a few odd ends in here, some unlabeled unknown ones. I'm just going to assume they're Daniel Smith's as well. And then we have this one, which is all of my Windsor and Newton paints. And I also have this, which is literally just where I store the pans that I'm not using, because like I mentioned before, I like to swap in and out in my sets if I kind of get fed up with one colour, or it's a granulating colour and I don't want it in there anymore. You know, I swap it out. So yeah, so this is mixed around. So I'm going to try and use up as many of these as I can in this palette, and possibly add in a few of these. Obviously I'm going to have a system. I'm going to pick colours that make sense and have a good mixing palette overall, but I kind of want to, you know, get rid of some of my tiny little tubes, because some of these I've got so little left in some of these. You can tell the colours I like using, you know, like burnt sienna. I'm also going to try out some alternatives to colours I would usually use. So for example, I've been using the Daniel Smith burnt sienna. I've got a lot of the Windsor and Newton burnt sienna, so I'm going to swap over to that and give that a play with, just to see if I like it, or if I'm just a Daniel Smith convert for that colour. So I've spoken about setting up palettes in a recent video I did. I'm going to do a similar process here. So I'm going to have a warm red, a cool red, a warm blue, a cool blue, a warm yellow, a cool yellow. I'm going to have 5 different browns and a grey colour. And then that leaves me with, so that's 12. So then out of the 18, I'll have 6 more of just whatever colours I fancy using in there. So I'm going to start with the reds. I'm going to separate them out into sort of my warmer reds and then my cooler reds / pinks. And I'm also going to be mindful of what I've got in this palette. Just stick that along there so I can see. So I want a warm red. I have got a few other ones dotted around in other palettes, but I like them in those palettes, so I'm just going to pick from these. I would usually use the Pyro Scarlet at the moment, so I'm going to take that one out. This one's a little bit too pink for me because I want a warmer red, so I'm going to take that one out for now. So that leaves me with a Windsor red and a cadmium red. So I'm just going to check in here if I've got either of them. Here's my reds. I think this is a cadmium red, not a cadmium red, a Windsor red. Because the Pyro Scarlet would have been there, but I've put it in another palette. If I can get this out. Yeah, this is a Windsor red. So there we have it, easy peasy. We have our first colour. The cool red, I usually go with the Quinacridone Rose. I really like this one, but it's not as strong. It's a little bit of a duller colour, but it's still beautiful, but it's not as useful for mixing. And these two are, again, make a bit more duller muted tone. So I'm going to go for the Quinacridone Rose again. And I know I've got one here because I was using it in a different palette and I've taken it out. So yoink, we're going to have you. That is my Quinacridone Red. So I've got my cool red or my pink and my warm red. So that is my, look, I barely started, I'm already covered in paint. Moving on to blue, I have a selection of, these are all cool. So I have a selection of cool and warm blues here. So, I mean, to be honest, the only warm blues I really have are French ultramarines. And I had a French ultramarine. This, I'm pretty sure this is the Daniel Smith one. So we're going to slot that in there for my warm blue. And then we are, that's this one. And then looking through these, I mean, I've got quite a lot of option for these. So I'm just going to see what I've actually got. I have a cerulean blue here. I have Windsor blue. I think I have quite a lot of this. I quite like the Mayan blue though. I think that's quite nice. Let's compare that to the Windsor blue. So the Windsor blue is non-granulating. This one is granulating. And they're both really good, light fast. This one's staining, this one's low staining. Do you know what? I'm gonna try out the Mayan blue. Let's stick that one in there, shall we? Pop that in there. And I'm sort of considering having a cerulean blue in there as well. So I might just take that one out on a sneaky and have that for one of my maybes. That would be my blues done. Moving on to my yellows, we can sort them into warmer yellows, cooler yellows, they're kind of middle-ish yellows, but they're my cooler, middle, warm. Let's have a look. So we've got my cadmium yellows there, both Windsor and Newton. Have we got any here? This is a Windsor yellow, which is more of a neutral. I kind of want a darker one though. So I think I'm going to have to make my own little pan for that, which is fine. I will go for, I think, cadmium yellow pale for that one. So cadmium yellow pale. And for this one, I'm just going to use, I actually have another, I've got so much lemon yellow knocking around. So we're going to use that lemon yellow, and there's our cool. We're going to look at greys now. I really like these two greys. This is Jane's grey and Payne's grey. Daniel Smith and Windsor and Newton. This Daniel Smith one is one I've been using more recently, but I have got a Payne's Grey, so I thought I'd swap over to that and try and test it out and see how it compares to the James Grey. So we're going to pop that in there. So now we have 7, potentially 8 colours. I want a really good range of browns. So we have a yellow ochre, I like quinacridone gold, burnt umber, raw umber, burnt sienna. Yeah, I have a lot of browns. They're here. Raw sienna, I've got Windsor and Newton as well. Gold ochre, new gamboge, these are more orangey colours. Yeah, so I've got quite a few to choose from. The burnt sienna from Windsor and Newton. I have been using the burnt sienna by Daniel Smith a lot more, so I might just see how this compares. So let's have a look what I've got in my palette. I've got a yellow ochre, so we'll steal you. Got a raw umber here as well. I've been looking at my browns, and I originally picked the Daniel Smith raw umber, and I wanted to use up my Windsor and Newton one, but it's just too much of a different colour, so I've poured myself out a Daniel Smith raw umber to go in this palette. Got my burnt sienna, my yellow ochre, and I've got a burnt umber. Now I want the Windsor and Newton burnt umber, but I've used this colour quite a lot, and obviously when I was filling the pan last time, I didn't put the lid on properly, so this is rock solid. So we're going to see if we can salvage this tube here. I'll just cut it open and see what the damage is. There we go, and we have a nice little blob of dried paint that I'll just stick in my pan. It's actually come out perfect, not a single drop left. There we go, so we have our browns coming together nicely there. I'll fill this pan. Let's hope this one isn't solid. No, this one's fine. We'll just squeeze you out in there recklessly. There we go, so I have my 5 browns. So with those 5 browns complete, we have the basis of my mixing palette, my warm and cool primaries, my grey, and my browns. So now we have our fun colours. I've picked a phthalo turquoise by Windsor and Newton, a cobalt turquoise light, also Windsor and Newton, a phthalo green blue shade by Daniel Smith, an amethyst genuine by Daniel Smith, Yuan Brilliant number 1 by Holbein, and the Windsor and Newton New Gamboge. So I think that we're going to have to give up on this cerulean blue. We're going to pop you back in there for storage. And I'll just check if I've got these colours. I can definitely see that I've got a cobalt turquoise light here, and this is the Windsor and Newton one. Pop you there. You have been chosen. I've got this one as well. Yuan Brilliant, and this is a new gamboge as well. Windsor and Newton one. The phthalo green. Oh, I've got the amethyst genuine as well in here. One of them. That's not marked, but I know it's that one. So we are just missing the phthalo green and the phthalo turquoise. Pull this out here. Phthalo green. God, I've got so many pans just knocking around. No idea what these are, to be honest. Tons of them. Yellow ochre. Oh my god, but just loads. Olive green. I got them cheap when the shop was closing down, so I probably went overboard on my paints. Right, I've forgotten what I'm looking for. Phthalo turquoise and a phthalo green. The Daniel Smith one. Where are you? Phthalo green. Yeah, there you are. A blue shade. Now what's left is to slot them into my palette. Let's get these ones out. You have been evicted.
I don't know what you've done to me, but I know this much is true. I want to do bad things with you.
I'll lay out the entire palette for you so you can have a little look. The quinacridone rose, Daniel Smith, Windsor blue, the lemon yellow, there's my cool primaries, the Payne's grey, the phthalo turquoise, phthalo green, cobalt turquoise light, Amethyst Genuine, and Juan Brilliant number 1. The warm reds, warm primaries, the Windsor Red, the warm blue, the French Ultramarine, Cadmium Yellow Pale. Got the Burnt Sienna, the Yellow Ochre, the Quinacridone Gold, the Burnt Umber, the Raw Umber, and the New Gamboge. So there we have it. Those are my choice of colours for this palette. Slot that in, and I didn't even make that much of a mess, which is pretty impressive for me. I really think the take-home message of this is when making a palette for yourself, you want your warm and your cool primaries, a neutral grey, a few different shades of brown, and then just have some fun. Pick the colours that you like. You can watch 100 different videos on picking colours, and everyone will have different colours in their palettes because they like different things. Some people are going for really strong mixing palettes, and some people, like me, are just going for colours they like. I hope you've enjoyed watching this little video of me pick out my colours for my Fraser Price palette box, and I'm looking forward to using it. Thanks for watching.